So I was driving down the street the other day and I saw a sign that said "Watch for Children." I made the trade. What's up, weirdos? Scott here. Thanks again for visiting the channel. As always, I appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the content. And today I'm doing a quick review on the TRM Shadow with the River Lock. I absolutely love this guy. But first, there's a few things I want to go over today. I know you guys don't like it when it takes forever to get to the knife, so I'm just going to let you know. At the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about a few things, this being one of them. This is a bullet bouquet from my wife for Valentine's Day, and it's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'll talk about that later. I know you guys probably don't want to mess around with that. But if you'd like to stay later for me to talk about this, then please do so. Again, this is a Three Rivers Manufacturing knife. Three Rivers Manufacturing is a small company. I'm not really sure exactly where it is, but they do small batch, high quality production knives made in America. So they're expensive, but they're definitely nice knives to have. I will be comparing this guy to the, its big brother, the TRM Atom. But this is a knife I've wanted to get into my collection for quite some time. This guy is available periodically on the site, but it's really hard to get one. Every time they drop, they sell out relatively quickly. So it's really tough to get a hold of one of these guys unless you know that they're dropping. But anyway, overall length on this guy is 7.75 inches with a blade length of 3.2 inches and what looks like about a hair over a 3-inch cutting edge. The handle itself is 4.5 inches long, and we'll get some size comparisons going here. First up is the Rat Model 1. The Rat Model 1, I'm going to put these scale to scale so the whole thing will be in this. Well, I might be able to get that in the screen. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll just line that up on the line. The Rat Model 1 obviously is quite a bit bigger than the Shadow, the TRM Shadow. And the Rat Model 2 is just a little bit smaller. I'd say it's just closer to the size of the Rat Model 2 than it is to the Rat Model 1. Next up is the Ritter Hogue RSK MK1 G2. That is Doug Ritter's answer to the Benchmade Griptilian. That's going to be a little bit bigger than the Shadow, and the 8020.5 is going to be just a hair shorter than the TRM Shadow. I definitely say that the Shadow is closer to the size of the 20.5. So a little bit of a smaller knife, which in my collection is kind of a little odd. I like the larger knives, as you guys know, but this is a special case. Next up is the SPYDERCO Paramilitary 2. Which is going to be just a little bit bigger than the TRM Shadow. And the SPYDERCO Para 3, obviously, is going to be a little bit shorter than the TRM Shadow. But again, the Shadow is going to be a little bit closer to the Para 3 than it is to the Paramilitary 2. And last but certainly not least, we have the Hinderer knives. The Hinderer XM24 is going to be quite a bit bigger than the TRM Atom. Actually, I'm going to put that pivot to pivot so that you can see the whole goddamn knife. There we go. And the XM24 obviously is going to be quite a bit bigger than the TRM Shadow. And last but not least, the XM18. The Shadow obviously is a little closer to the XM18 size, but the XM18 is still quite a bit larger than this knife. Size comparisons real quick compared to the Paramilitary 3, or sorry, the Para 3. When we are looking at the thickness, the TRM Shadow is going to be just about the same thickness as the Para 3. It might be a little bit thicker than the Para 3, but only by like a hair. I wouldn't say it's, I'd say it's negligible, honestly. And as far as height is concerned, at the tallest point of this blade, it's just a little bit shorter than the Para 3. It is pretty tall blade. It's a little bit of a taller knife, but it's definitely smaller. So that makes it easier to carry in the pocket. Let's get a quick weight on this guy. According to the website, this guy is 4 ounces in all. Let's see here. I think it's actually a little bit less than that. I weighed it a while ago. let's see here. Yeah, 3.7 ounces. The website says 4, might just be my scale being a little bit off. But it's saying 3.7 ounces on both sides, so that's, I mean, it doesn't normally change very often, but sometimes with it sitting differently on the pocket clip, which I do have the pocket clip on this guy. You guys know that I don't normally use pocket clips, but something with a milled titanium pocket clip on it, I usually leave those there. So that's 3.7 ounces, which is absolutely fantastic. I don't know that I'd call that ultra lightweight, but it's definitely lightweight for sure. Now we're going to do the blade stock thickness. I am going to compare this to the TRM Atom because that's the one I've had for quite some time. But the Shadow itself, I don't know why I opened that. I'm sorry. All right, there we go. The TRM Shadow is 90 thousandths on the blade stock. Which is absolutely fantastic. It's a good slicer, and the TRM Atom is also going to be 90 thousandths, I do believe. TRM, they set the thickness on all their blades at around 90 thousandths, and that is just to keep it as slicey as possible. Very thin blade stock definitely makes this a slicey knife, and the fact that these are both flat ground blades also make them really good slicers. So here's these two knives together. The reason that I got the TRM Atom before I got the Shadow, not just because of availability, but I really enjoyed the aesthetics of the TRM Atom a lot more than I did the Shadow. But I definitely did want a Shadow for sure. A lot of people have been talking about this knife lately, last year or two, and how amazing it is compared to other axis lock knives out there. This guy is, I mean, the machining on this, the tolerances, all of it is absolutely fantastic on this knife. But here you can see it compared to the TRM Atom, one of my favorite knives in my collection, not just for the blade steel, but for the very thin blade stock thickness, and ease of use. This guy, you can trade out the scales on this with just taking out the body screws. You don't have to take out the pivot, which is nice. You cannot do that with this knife though, however. This is a truly ambidextrous knife, so it's got a pocket clip that can go on both sides. It's got an axis lock or river lock, as TRM calls it. You've also got the TRM symbol on the blades there. I'm going to get rid of this guy so we can focus on the Shadow. I've already done the review on the TRM Atom, so if you want to see that, you're more than welcome to go back and take a look. Excuse me. So now that we've done the size comparisons, I'm going to go over the blade real quick. This is a, like I said, this is a 3.2? Yeah, 3.2 inch blade with a hair over a 3-inch blade cutting edge. We've also got a flat grind that comes all the way out to the tip, and then there's a flat that comes out to about 90% the length of the blade. There is no jimping on the blade at all, but there is some steppage on the thumb studs, which is nice. Helps you to deploy it a little bit better. And then the same thumb stud on the other side. This guy is running on phosphor bronze washers, which is really surprising to me. And there was a few things that were wrong with it when I got it, but I'll go into that in a few minutes here. This is a knife with G10 scales on it, a little bit of milling. I'll give you a close-up view here so that you can see that. Beautiful milling on that blade. I really like their sign here, how they kind of etch it and make it darker in the bottom. You've got like this little clamshell pivot here, which I believe this is a captive pivot. And you've also got the river lock there, which screws into place. I'll get into that in just a few minutes here, which is, excuse me, operated by, oh God, I've got such bad heartburn today. Excuse me. So this is operated by Omega Springs. You've got the milled G10 scales here, which have all these lines and everything. Does provide some meaningful traction. On the back here, you've got a T10 pivot, and everything else on this knife, as you can see, there's quite a bit of body screws. Excuse me, and there is a filler tab on the other side. Everything on here, other than the pivot, is a T6. So the filler tab is a T6. The scale screws are T6s. And the screws in the back here are also T6s. Like I said, milled titanium pocket clip with T6s holding that in place. And as you can see here, this is not an integral handle. You can kind of see the line there. This is all one piece on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side kind of matches up with it, and then you just throw the screws into the holes on the lock side here, and that holds everything together. Some people talk about wishing that they had standoffs or backspacer or something like that. I don't really care. I like the way this knife looks as it is. It doesn't really matter to me whether a knife has backspacers or standoffs or anything like that. This knife, in my opinion, is made just fine. I don't see any problems with the build whatsoever, other than the fact that there's a lot of T6 screws here. T6 screws are not the end of the world. They're just not the greatest in the world either. I prefer T8s. I think everybody in the knife community prefers T8s on their knives, just because they're a little bit easier to get out and they're a little bit easier to work with. Excuse me. Sorry. Anywho, as I said, flat grind, reverse Tanto blade profile, I suppose you would call it. I'm not sure exactly what to call this kind of blade profile, because I don't really know that there's any such thing as a reverse Tanto, but that's what they're calling it. Let's see here. I told you about the pocket clip. There are some liners in here which are stainless steel, and they only go out to about, let me see if I can see this in here. Sorry. Okay. So the liners only come out to about here, which is about, I'd say, an inch past the pocket clip. So they are not full stainless steel liners on this guy, but I don't really think that it needs it. The G10 on the handle scales aren't exactly super duper thick, but they're not flimsy either. Now, when I got into this knife, I was really excited about it when I ordered it and everything, and I couldn't wait for it to get here. And then I got it, and there were some issues. First things first, this screw here on the river lock, which I'm not really sure why they use screws to hold these in place, but they did. But this one was kind of, let's see if I can focus that. So there's like a metal sleeve in here, and it was coming out a little bit, so I had to screw that guy back into there, and the blade was off center. Excuse me. And as you can see here, this guy is absolutely drop shut. I mean, look at this action. It's super easy to deploy. It's super easy to deploy with your thumb, or you can slow roll it, or you can reverse flick it. Very, very easy to use for sure, 100%. But when I got it, it was very, very stiff, which wasn't really a big deal to me because the phosphor bronze washers on the TRM Atom also make this a knife that you can flick out, but it doesn't drop shut. You have to close it manually the entire way, which isn't a problem. But again, this is running on phosphor bronze washers. As you can see, this guy is also, now you can't see that it's running on phosphor bronze washers, but you can see that it's got a really smooth action. You hit that thumb stud, it flies right out. You pull back the river lock, and it just falls back down into the handle. The fact that this is running on phosphor bronze washers is amazing to me. When I got this guy, they did say, no need to disassemble. Or no, it said, please do not disassemble, no need to oil, which that's stupid, in my opinion. I don't run my knives dry. There are some people that do. I'm always going to oil my knives. I did not have to take this apart to oil it, but it was really, really stiff when I got it. I had to really kind of throw it down to get the blade to go back into the handle. I was really concerned about that. It made me a little unhappy with the purchase, but the other day I noticed that it was off center, so I did Metal Complex's trick where I undid the pivot a little bit and I undid the body screws a little bit, put some paper in here, and then tightened everything back up. And miraculously, when I finished tightening it all back up, it was drop shutty, which is amazing to me. I'm so excited about that. When this became drop shut, I was about 70% happy with this knife when I got it. When I got it to drop shut, I got it to about 90 or 95%. Very, very excited about this knife. Absolutely love it. It's very fidgety, and it's so easy to carry. It's not a huge knife, but it's not exactly a tiny knife either. It's definitely got full-size knife characteristics to it. It's taller, and it's a little bit wider in the handle than a lot of the knives that I have. and that makes up for the fact that it's a little bit shorter. I don't really mind shorter knives. I have big ass hands, so it makes it difficult for me to deal with those. Another issue that a lot of people have with this knife is the price. It's $279 or $280, and that's when you can find it. But you've got to consider here not just the materials that go into making something like this. You've also got to take into consideration the fact that it's a small company making these knives. They are production knives, but they're small batch production knives. They do put titanium on it. They use premium blade steels, and their tolerances, their fit and finish, everything about this company is high quality, in my opinion. I don't have a problem paying what TRM asks for their knives. I don't think a lot of people should. There are some people that do, but they don't. I guess maybe they don't appreciate the certain things that come along with a knife like this, and paying the price that you have to pay in order for you to get that. So I'm very happy that I made this purchase. It's an absolutely fantastic knife. It deploys very, very easily. It disengages extremely easily now, and it's very, very comfortable. You've got kind of a half and half forward finger choil here, and not a lot else. So there is a palm swell here, or a swell here just for your fingers, but otherwise your hand fits in this knife. I'm sorry, this knife fits in your hand very, very comfortably. There's no jimping at all on this knife, but I don't really feel like it needs it. You get plenty of meaningful traction from the milling on this G10, and you can see here also that the top of the scales are milled as well. See if I can show you that. Here we go. So kind of like a feathering there, and then on the bottom part, I don't think you have it down here as much, but there is some milling there, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love this knife a lot. Excuse me. So I don't know if there's anything else to say. Oh, I didn't do the blade play or anything like that. So yes, this is very loose. I thought maybe when it started dropping shut, I might have had to tighten up the pivot a little bit. But I went to check it, and it was rock solid, absolutely solid. No up or down, no right or left, and this guy is perfectly centered now, which is great. I like the aesthetics of this knife. I like the way it feels in the hand, and I like how easy it is to carry. So if you're interested in this knife, please pick it up when it's available, which currently it is not. But they'll, follow them on Instagram, and they'll definitely let you know when there's going to be more. Excuse me, God. They'll let you know when there's going to be more dropping. So a couple more things to talk about before I finish the video. I'm going to show you the bullet bouquet again. I'm going to try to be careful just because these 22 shells in here are not glued in there or anything. They fall right out. But my wife got this for me for Valentine's Day, and this is a bullet bouquet. There's a gentleman, I'm not sure where he lives, I think Las Vegas, but he shoots all these rounds into water, and then he picks out the best ones, solders them onto copper wiring, and then glues them inside this pot here. Now you can either get a milled aluminum pot or a terracotta pot. Sweaty baloney. I'm not going to tell you what that means. That's an inside joke between me and my wife, and she watches all my videos. So if she hears me tell you what sweaty baloney means, she will murder me, and you will never see me again. Okay, so yeah, this is really cool. I really love this gift from my wife, and I think a lot of you guys would enjoy it too. So I just wanted to show this guy off. I'll give you the website and everything. I'm also going to link this down in the description if you want to buy one. They are not cheap, but in my opinion, they're worth it. They come in 3 blooms, 6 blooms, 12 blooms, and I think 22 or 25 or something like that. But I got the 12 bloom, as you guys can see. There's the website right there. And this company is absolutely fantastic. This guy is great. I think his customer service is good, according to my wife. The shipping was fast. And I'm very, very satisfied with it. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, excuse me, social media. A lot of people have been commenting on my site, or I'm sorry, in my comments that I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I'll put the knife back up for you guys to look at. I don't spend a lot of time on social media. They haven't seen me in the lives. They don't see me in a lot of comments or anything like that. So they kind of asked me why that was. I have a full-time job. I work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I'm also trying to start up another channel. So I don't have a lot of time to spend on social media or watching lives and stuff like that. If I did, I would. But there's another what's the word I'm looking for? There's another component to it also. I absolutely despise social media. I think it's the downfall of our causing the downfall of our society, and it's a complete waste of time. I don't like social media. The only reason I have an Instagram account is because I have the channel, and I have to try to use that to grow it as much as I possibly can. But I don't have TikTok on my phone. I don't have a lot of these apps on my phone. The only ones that I have on my phone are Facebook and Instagram, and that's, again, only because of the channel. So the reason you guys don't see me in the lives and chatting and all that stuff is just because I simply don't have the time. So I'm sorry about that. Maybe in a year or two, once I'm more acclimated to my job at work. I just got a promotion, so I'm spending a lot of time there trying to learn a whole bunch of stuff. And hopefully soon I'll be able to get onto social media more often, just to spend time with my subscribers and hang out with them. I'd love to be able to do that. So hopefully that'll be coming up in the future here pretty soon. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, excuse me, is a lot of people have been saying that not a lot of people, there's been a few people who've been like, how come you never do any negative reviews? And that's a good question. Every review that I've done so far has been good, but it's tough. I don't have people sending me knives to do reviews. So if I get a knife, it's because I bought it with my own money, and I'm I do a lot of friggin' research before I buy a knife. Usually 99% of the time, it has to be a really, really nice knife that I'm really, really interested in, and that I would really, really want to purchase before I will purchase it. So 90% of the time, 99% of the time, when I get a knife and I do a review on it right now, it's not going to be a negative review because it's going to be a knife that I bought myself. Maybe in the future, when I can get people to start sending me knives to review on the channel, I don't know why you guys are excited to see negative reviews, but if I don't like a knife, I certainly will say that I don't like a knife. I haven't been able to get one on the camera yet that I didn't own, that I didn't get from a friend of mine that I asked for personally because I wanted to show the knife off on the channel. So I think that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And stay up, weirdos. Take it easy. Bye.